Welcome back, everyone. We are going to wrap things up this week with your final real project. Over the course of this quarter, we've learned about science by taking pictures and documenting changes that have been happening. We did some tests and experiments. And last week, we kind of came back and learned about pollinators. And now the last piece of this puzzle that we're missing is actually doing something with the knowledge that we've gained. So last week, our theme was pollinators, and this week I want you to do something to help the pollinators. And as you can see from the background, it is time to build something. And I have a whole bunch of different plans for you guys that I'm linking online. So some of them you will need wood and some tools and maybe glue, but a lot of them are much simpler. You can use milk bottles or Pepsi bottles or peanut butter jars or glasses. So I really tried to find something for everybody to be able to do with the resources that they can just find around their house. Okay, so we're gonna make one of four things. And last week we said there's four kinds of pollinators: bees, birds, bats, and butterflies or bugs. And we can make houses for all of these things. Bird houses, there's so many different plans on there, from 3D printed to wood to simple salvaged items. And you can make some of those. Bat houses, you can actually make bat houses online to hopefully get some bats in your area and eat mosquitoes. If you don't have that much room, we can make either a bee house or a butterfly house. Bee house, I'm not talking about the big beehives like you saw last week. They do have a lot of bees that are native to Minnesota that kind of live a solitary existence. They live by themselves and they need a place. And the last thing is butterflies. If you love butterflies, you can make a butterfly house to attract more of them into your yard, especially if you have flowers around where you live. Another thing I learned this week, I don't know who made it up, but you know how a group of birds is called a flock, and a bunch of bees, a whole hive of bees is called a colony of bees. A group of butterflies is called a kaleidoscope. So I'll take you through a couple little videos here and see what it is you can make. And then this is going to be due next week by Monday or Tuesday, depending on when you have class. And this is your final big project. Okay, so it's not going to be due at the end of this week. It's going to be due at the beginning of next week to give you a weekend to get a few more things done. Hello, friends. For our last big project, we're going to look at how we can help our pollinators. So last week we looked at what pollinators do, how they do it, what they are, and this week you're going to make something to help the pollinators. One of your choices is a birdhouse. Okay? Birdhouses are easy. There's many different kinds, many designs, and you can just kind of figure out what you want to make. Some of them are super easy. Some of them could be a little more complicated if you want, but birdhouses can be any shape, whole bunch of different materials, and really pretty easy to make. Okay, if you're like, have a birdhouse, it's not really my thing, but you did like the bees last week, there's a simple alternative of something you could make for the bees. And it's this thing here. This is a mason bee house. And mason bees are small little native bees to Minnesota. They don't live in a big colony like honeybees. They live a lonely existence all by themselves, and they lay eggs in little tubes. So if you have little bamboo tubes or something like that laying around, by all means that'd be great. But you can simplify it as well. You could use straws. You could use straws inside a can or like a Pepsi bottle or an old drinking glass. And I mean, the opportunities are endless. They just need to be little holes. There's a couple other options though if you're not into birds or bees, but you like creatures of the night, like bats. You can make a bat house. Bats are pollinators. They're not huge pollinators. They do pollinate things. That bat house has been there for 5 years, and we used to have a bat living in it, and every night at dusk it would fly out, and we'd kind of look forward to it. We named it Seymour, because bats, of course, can't see very well, so we thought that was a funny name. Seymour, right, for a bat. The other thing is a butterfly house. You can make a butterfly house, and I'll put plans online. I do not have one because I have so many other things. I don't have a butterfly house that I've made, but if that interests you, you can make it. It's a little more complicated and you do have to make it out of wood. There's not a lot of alternatives, but that's an option for you. Okay? So decide what you want to make. Birdhouse, a mason bee house, a bat house, or a butterfly house. This is going to be due next week by Monday or Tuesday, depending on when you have class, and this is your final big project. Okay, so it's not going to be due at the end of this week. It's going to be due at the beginning of next week to give you a weekend to get a few more things done. Okay, all right, everybody. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to seeing what it is that you can make.